Nigeria faces a severe housing crisis marked by significant deficit and high costs, particularly for low and middle income earners. The housing deficit is estimated to be at least 20 million units, with an additional 5.5 million people needing housing each year, requiring at least 550,000 new houses annually. This deficit is compounded by high housing prices and rents, which have increased faster than general inflation, making it difficult for many Nigerians to afford adequate housing. Nigerians' housing deficit is substantial, with estimates ranging from 20 to 28 million units, according to a real estate expert estimate. How housing prices and rent, especially for low and middle income individuals, are major barriers to accessing adequate housing. A lack of viable mortgage system and high interest rates hinders home ownership, particularly for those in lower income brackets. The housing crisis has led to the growth of informal settlement with substandard living conditions. Rising costs of building materials such as cement further exacerbate the problem. Nigeria's housing sector faces a multifaceted crisis. Addressing this requires a multi-pronged approach that includes government intervention, private sector participation, and innovative financing solution to make housing accessible and affordable for all citizens, according to the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development.
Let me just speak of Benin City, where I reside. You see, the menace of agents has become a menace. Agent is something that is known because they help you you may not be able to go around the town to look for houses that are vacant and all that. So these agents are supposed to, bring people who will come. They know all the houses that are supposed to be free. They're supposed to be like a liaison, a middleman between the tenant and the landlord. And in those days, they used to possibly collect 10% of whatever you are going to pay as your annual rent. But I want to tell you that these people are not even collecting more than God. God in the Bible collects 10% as tithes. I can tell you for free that this agent now, they collect as much as 30%. The landlord would have told them they will ask you for agent fee. They will ask you for agent fee 30% of what you are paying. Then they will ask you for caution fee. They will ask you for agreement fee. And to be very honest with you, in many cases, this caution, these agreement fees, they don't even go to the landlord. Is there a law governing agents in this country? I really don't know. It is something that the government may need to look into, because these agents, they are devil's agents. They are frustrating tenants.
20% of rent from a prospective tenant is unreasonable. So by the time you add those figures, those unreasonable figures to the already built up costs, it makes it scary. So a lesser standardized percentage might be acceptable. It's not just to make policies, it's another thing to also enforce the policies. The property market can be regulated, not in a way to hurt the agents in a way, but to curb the excesses. Because if you also look at it, like I said, there are positive and negative sides. We're also encouraging them. You are keeping people off the streets, you're giving them jobs, okay? But we want to regulate we want them to regulate to what extent they make property accessible to others. So a fair pricing system can be encouraged. The agency business can be standardized. Consultation between the government and the stakeholders on a fair price can also work.
This housing problem is being compounded by both professional and non-professional estate agents, popularly known as house agents in some clime, making houses to be very expensive for the masses. A person who sells and rents out buildings and land for clients, an estate agent or a realtor. The journey to finding a suitable rental property or accommodation in Nigeria is often fraught with challenges in cities like Lagos and Benin City. Navigating the murky waters of rental practices dominated by estate agents or house agents is unprecedented. Prospective tenants find themselves ensnared in a wave of unexpected fees, especially for house inspection, leading to frustration and financial strain. Some agents will ask as high as 30,000, 25,000, 20,000, 10,000 or 5,000 depending on the area.
It's alarming with the rate these persons are going. Some of them are very greedy. They take advantage of tenants in certain properties. A situation whereby an agent is demanding more than 10% from you, that is criminal. I know some states they allow more than 10%, but to my best of my knowledge, Edo State, the standard is 10%. That's what an agent should collect. Then, as a tenant, if you are paying for a rent for any property, ensure to ask. Let them give you a breakdown. They shouldn't just tell you 1.5 million, 2 million for a property and you just pay. No, even if you have the money. You are not the only person that will be renting house. Other persons, because once you make this thing a norm, make it a norm, it will become a standard. Before you know, every other person will be seen as a normality. So I will advise potential tenants, when you want to get a place, ensure you ask them. Let them give you a breakdown. They should tell you the amount for the rent. They should tell you the amount for if there's a legal fee. They should tell you the amount for the agency. Like I said, standard 10% is fair enough. Then if there's a caution fee, they should tell you. Any other fees, service charge as well, maybe managing the place in terms of light bills and utilities, that's my service charge. Any other fee or bills outside any of these that I've just enumerated, it is illegal and it is criminal.
What they do, they even make it difficult for tenants to take your house. Number one, they will go and put different fees. They will do agreement for the landlord that owns the house. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And they will shield the tenant from you. Not until he enters your house, you will even know your tenant. So the person that's coming to take your house, and that can put the owner of the house in jeopardy, and they can give him problem, because as the owner of the house, I need to know who's coming to my house, but they will shield the person. And the different fee they collect from intended tenants or tenants is too much. At times they say caution fee. They will tell you this fee, that fee, that fee. So I understand in a house that somebody went to rent, they made him to pay 200,000 naira caution fee, agent fee, this fee, that fee. Jehovah, for my house, on my head. And it is high time government begin to regulate their activities. Some time ago, Lagos government have to climb on these agents, and it's high time that those state government come out and look at this thing holistically. Because I saw a house that somebody went to rent, 2-bedroom flat, 1.2, 1.4 million in this building. Now that is outrageous. An agent collected up to 100 or 200 or that's so much. As they say 800,000 for one parlor and a room. Jesus. So number one, they are responsible to an extent for astronomical increase in house rent. Number two, they also cause problem between landlord and tenants, in that before a tenant gets to your house, you don't know it, or you will just come there and say, this is my new tenant. Whereas if you had interviewed the person, maybe you wouldn't have given him your house in the first place. And number three, they are also making things difficult for the tenant themselves. A tenant that went to hustle for 150,000 to rent room and parlor, you come and give him other bills, then he will not be able to get this thing. So
missed and the need of owning a property of your own, because the way some of our agency are taking it now is just somehow the agent will just skyrocket some locations and tell you this is how much they are giving this location. For instance, now we needed an apartment in, let's say, Uselu, Gbowo, Saplerwood houses. The owner might just say, okay, let me give it lesser price, but the agent will place that property in their care. We just say, no, this is what they are renting in this location. This is how much we used to give property, 2-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat, as the case may be, a room and a parlor, unit self-contained, as the case may be. They can say, okay, this is what we are giving in this location. This is what we are giving. But that is not in the mind of the original owner of the building. So that's the reason why we are urging all the agents, we call them freelancers at a time. In all, they are called agents. Those agents, please just take it easy with our citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because most of us, it's not that easy to just school out the money. You hear some persons will just say, okay, this house per annual is 600k, as the case may be. It will just say, okay, now agency is 450,000. It's not encouraging. It's scaring people away out of the city of Benin. So we are using this medium to encourage our agents to make sure, please and please, take it easy with our people in the city of Benin. They are supposed to be regulated by the state or the federal government of Nigeria. There should be a punishment but not now, because there is no law guiding them. It is when the Edo State government now decide, or the House of Assembly now decide to say, okay, let us look for a way to fix it. Then they can now say, okay, now we are going to pass a law. If there is no law, there will be no offender. So that's the reason why, not until we have a law that is guiding this set of people, this set of persons, this body, then there can never be an offender.
Searching for a home in Nigeria has become a frustrating ordeal as many prospective tenants face an uncertainty reality. Estate or house agents demanding hefty fees for limited property viewing, while leading clients to properties are often failed to match that requirement. This exploitative practice, as investigation revealed, doesn't just drain finances but leaves tenants feeling trapped and misled. As a housing crisis deepens, the integrity of Nigeria's real estate market seems to be teetering on shaky ground.
We have some issues with them. Some of them, they jack up the rent for certain houses beyond even what is prevailing in that area, because each area has its own rental value. But they jack up the prices, and there are two things about this. It makes it impossible for people who would have afforded the house normally not to get a house. And then secondly, the landlord is deprived of rent for the period he's waiting for somebody to take up the house, not at his price but at the agent's price. And some of these agents, they are not appointed as agents by certain landlords. They just go to a house that is empty. They just take the picture and they put it on their platform, and then they advertise it as a house. And then some, they collect rents, and then they start looking for a house for the intending customer. So while they are running around, that intending customer is in pain. So these are some of the unwholesome practices of some of the agents. And some people collect money, and at the end of the day, they don't give the customer a house, and they cannot even refund the money. And sometimes you take them to the police station and they start refunding the money in bits and pieces instead of the lump sum that was given to them. I think the activity should be regulated, honestly. And some of them do the work of agent, they do the work of barristers or solicitors who are supposed to write agreements. Some of them write agreements, and some of them steal the stamp of the lawyer, and they are fixing there and just put a new signature. We have had many of these issues, and I hope that the government and even the professional body of estate valuers and agents will look into this issue.
There's a lot of deficiency in the areas of housing in Edo State. Why do I say that? Is that the cost of housing is being affected because of the demand. You can see in some areas, the very moment construction is being done in any building, before that building is completed, some persons have already made payment for that building. That is to show that the demand of rentage is very high. People need this property, they are desperate in need of it. And because of that, there is now inflation in the cost of housing. The landlord, there is no regulatory system to regulate the cost of building per areas or per environment or per the size of the building. So landlord just wake up to put a fixed price on their property the way it suits them. Just because maybe the next street there's a certain price the landlord are charging, so they now build their home, they will just give it price higher than the other one, because the number of persons that is asking for the property during the construction is high. To be honest, the agent in Edo State, their activities are very, very terrible. So I believe the government and the judiciary, they have to step in. Because, for example, there is a time that the NBA, they come together and they said that there is a fixed price for the lawyer. The lawyers has a fixed price, maybe 5%. If it's above so amount, it's 2.5%. So there's still room for you to negotiate with your lawyers. All these are professionals. They have their own regulatory bodies. And also the government has to step in, because roadside agents will just give fixed price. Sometimes they are even trying to aim higher than the owners of the property. You will see a property for 1 million naira. Agent will tell you that agent fee is 300,000 naira. You don't know how much they buy block. You don't know how much they sell sand. You don't know how much they sell cement. You are even trying to share the same profit with the owner of the property. So the government have a lot of work to do. First of all, let all agents be profiled and let there be a regulatory amount on their charges that will not affect the tenants. Because when it's becoming too high, you will see that it will also affect the economy of the environment, that people will be shifting away from renting us. We don't want situation of what we are experiencing in some states like Lagos, where people are not staying under the bridge.
The cost of renting a 2-bedroom flat is 400,000, but you see some persons who happen to be agents telling you to pay 700,000. That is to say, they are collecting extra 300,000, and you ask them what are they doing, just because they know the owner of the house. It is that time the government and the collective effort of landlord will bring together to make sure that this problem is salvaged. You'll be so surprised that in the first 1 year you are going to pay 700,000 for 3-bedroom flat. They will tell you subsequently you are going to pay 400,000 or maybe 500,000. Who are you giving the 200 or 300,000 to? To one man sitting on his own? What is the work of this man? Just to bring a link between the owner of the house and the tenant. To me, it's outrageous. We are having this problem, and the painful thing is there is nothing like soon they will understand that they are evil. Sorry to say, I will say it. Some of them, not all, are evil. You are collecting outrageous money from people, 300,000. Or some will tell you 20% rate. If I am to rent a house for 1 million, 20% will be 200,000. Waiting the happen.
In a nation where access to comfortable and secure housing is a fundamental need, a disturbing trend has emerged. Estate agent or house agent exploiting the desperation of prospective tenants to maximize profit. Many house hunters, desperate to secure a suitable home, pour time and money into multiple inspections only to be shown properties that fall far short of expectations, whether due to poor location, subpar amenities, or prices widely exceeding their budgets. This troubling pattern has drained and has tainted what should be a straightforward house hunting experience, turning it into a frustrating cycle of financial strain and unmet promises. Some agent will promise you won't pay until they secure an apartment for you. It's a lie. Once they collect your money and send you listing you can't even consider, then they disappear once you reject a few options. The financial bleeding doesn't stop these housing agents into collecting commission on every rent paid, further compounding the financial burden of prospective tenants. Why agents are often viewed as primary culprits, finding a review that landlords are equally complicit in this exploitative web. Many landlords, fully aware of agents' dubious tactics, deliberately channel prospective tenants through these middlemen, knowing it will pile extra charges on renters. Though this arrangement may seem like a convenient way to streamline tenant selection, it raises serious ethical concern around transparency and fairness. By relying on agents who extract inspection fees without proper accountability, landlords indirectly fuel a system where tenants are financially drained and disillusioned even before securing a home. Across social media platforms, a storm of outrage has erupted from victims of this exploitative racket. Numerous posts recount experiences of exorbitant inspection fees levied under false pretense that left prospective tenants drained and demoralized. Many describe this drawn to properties through glossy, deceptive listing only to meet with vastly different realities during physical inspection. Shabby apartments, noisy environments, and poor maintenance often replace the pristine visual showcased online, sparking frustration and heartbreak for those desperate to secure a home. Beyond financial strains, the emotional toll is undeniable. Tenants feel trapped in a system skewed heavily in favor of landlords and agents, an ecosystem where renters' vulnerability is exploited while while accountability remains elusive. Adding another disturbing layer to this crisis is the revelation that some landlords or their relatives now disguise themselves as estate agents or house agents to exploit tenants directly. This deception strategy bypasses professional intermediaries, allowing landlords to pocket inspection fees while maintaining a false image of legitimacy. Another deceptive tactic haunting the rental space involve fake house agents who lure desperate tenants with suspiciously low inspection fees. Operating without legitimate listing, these scammers flood social media with eye-catching property art, targeting vulnerable renters searching for affordable homes. Once a tenant shows interest, the demand varying fees for property inspections, often without having any real properties available. Some victims report being taken to random buildings with no rental vacancies or properties in their conditions unfit for living. These con artists thrive in a dangerously unregulated market where anyone can pose as a real estate professional without credentials. The allure of quick, easy profit often overshadows the lasting damage inflicted on already struggling families in need of homes. By posing as agents, they lure unsuspecting tenants into believing they are dealing with professionals, not the property owners themselves. Some even create fake online profiles or use aliases to maintain this illusion. Another deceptive tactic haunting rental space involve fake house agents who allure desperate tenants and suspiciously low inspection fee. Operating without legitimate listing, these scammers flood social media with eye-catching property ads targeting vulnerable tenants searching for affordable homes.
The role of an agent is to help source or manage, protect the said building. So if you are paying, whatever you pay, you say you pay to an agent, the agent at the end point replies back to the landlord or the house owner. So if we can also say, we don't also have some, what I would have suggested that we were saying, agent that tells you they want to search for something for you without. But the bottom line, that agents hike in house rent, I don't believe, because where me or you stay, some people have houses, and because of the stress of talking to these tenants who in total don't help maintain a property, you handle it to a man, an agent who can help you speak and understand the language your tenant speaks, and to relieve you of their stress and burden, you give the agent to maintain. That does not give the agent the prerogative or the right to increase or decrease that house. You are now to tell the agent, this is what you collect, or agent suggests to you. They are not the owner. If tomorrow you want me to help you sell something and say you have a house, you have a land, you have a car to sell, and you give it to an agent to sell, you will tell the agent or the household that you are selling at this fixed price. There's no way agency can be bigger than the said money you are paying. It's impossible. So maybe they will not tell you are paying legal fee, you are paying agency fee, you are paying some the ad fees. But if you understand the terrain, understand the system, if you pay it first, the first time, you are not going to pay that again. If you understand it, an agent does not have right to collect a legal fee.
Looking at the present state of house agents precisely in Edo State today, absolutely is not an help to a common man as he stands. In a situation where an agent will impose a fee in a house they know nothing about, and at the end of the day, the money that will be going to the landlord or either the landlady of the house will have nothing to do with that of the legal fee. So many fields to talk about. So at the end of the day, I will say from my own take, the government, if they have anything to do to make this agency to be a better regulating body, because it stands today, anybody just wake up and for any reasons nothing doing, they appear to be agents on the street, and at the same time they don't care about the genuity of the persons they give these houses to, which at the end of the day, many of these clients bring problem to landlords and landlady. All they are after is just what they gain and what to profit at the moment.
Imagine collecting 5,000 naira inspection fees for more than 5 persons for the same apartment. Some house agents will go as far as preventing prospective tenants to have any form of contact with the landlord, making sure that rents are paid to the landlord through them. In Benin City today, looking for a house is like you going through the eye of a needle. You get to see advertorials on Facebook, WhatsApp pages, reading thus: pay 800,000 naira now. Subsequent years, you pay 500,000. In some clients, you get to hear pay 1 million naira now. Subsequently, you pay 400,000. While in some part, you're going to see pay 700 naira now. Subsequently, you pay 300,000 naira in subsequent years. Where are all these monies going to? Some agents have fashioned a weapon whereby they can even collect money more than the landowners, manipulating the system so that the landlord or landladies will not even know what is going on. Some agents also go ahead to be the middleman between the landowners, the house owners, the tenant. The tenants will be arm twisted so they can pay directly through the agent, which in turn will take out their own share according to what they call it and give the landlord or landlady a pay not compared to what they've collected. Some of these tenants don't even know their landlords or landladies. Sometimes they have to pay through the account of the agent. Just paint this picture: a tenant paying 1 million naira, or better still 800,000 naira, in some cases 600,000 naira, for the landlord to only receive 300,000 or 400 or even 500 as the case may be. The activities of this agent should be regulated. In this situation, they can choose to increase the rent paid fee on their own without giving the landlord the complete amount. Equipped with the knowledge that the tenants do not know the owners of these houses, some house agents deceitfully issue quick notice to tenants in order to bring in new tenants that will pay higher agent fees and house rent. This has in no small measure inflicts so much pains on tenants. These agents most time goes for the highest bidder, not minding what the so-called higher bidder does for a living, as long as the greed of the landlord and agent are satisfied. Hence you get to hear words like "Oga, landlord, give your house to Yahoo boys. Now Yahoo boys they pay pass." Really, these fraudsters have so much money to spend and spare. This act further compound the pains of low-income earners. The act of putting money first before personality has plunged society into chaos. You hear of kidnapping, ritual killings, and robbery in the society, all because the landlord refused to vet prospective tenants properly, all because of money and the negative influence of house agents. The government of the day should, as a matter of urgency, look into these unwholesome practices of these house agents. This set of persons should be regulated and prosecuted if they desist from this unwholesome act. The government should set up task force on accommodation and housing matters, as done in some states in Nigeria, to checkmate the unwholesome practice of these house agents and greedy landlords, so that both high and low income earners seeking accommodation can breathe. Wilson